I think we can all agree that the Pokemon market has changed a lot over the past, 5 years or so. We started out at a point where booster boxes were moving at just a very, very slow pace, a very cheap rate, where you could buy booster boxes for $85 to $90. This was right around Sword and Shield base release, moving into Rebel Clash, and then the pandemic happened, things blew up, supply got really, really low, demand got really high. We had influencers come in like Logan Paul and Logic, and everything started blowing up. You couldn't find anything in stores. All of this like perfect storm coupled into this moment in time where the market for Pokemon cards just absolutely exploded in price, where you couldn't find anything in stores. Things were being scalped left and right. A lot of promo cards, a lot of trophy cards, a lot of staff cards, a lot of random cards all over the place from various sets throughout the years started just blowing up in price, increasing left and right, doubling, tripling, quadrupling in some cases. It's been an absolute roller coaster of a ride. And now over the past year, things have settled down a lot. Demand has slowed big time. I think Pokemon is still at this a tremendous demand standpoint. I think there's still more people who are interested in Pokemon cards now than there were 5 years ago by a lot. I think the number is still very, very high. However, supply has increased tremendously. More sets have been released. It seems like every single month there is another set that is coming out. Another huge set where it's got, 90, 100 secret rares that are in the set, and it's being printed basically to demand, so that way you can go to the store, you can find booster packs, you don't have to worry about logging on to your favorite streaming website and paying double, triple a booster pack, like what we had to deal with during the pandemic. And as things slowed down, the market starts to correct. And sometimes, in a lot of cases, the market goes further than a correction, and you have a down market like what we're in right now, where there's a lot of singles, a lot of sealed product that is selling way below probably what it's going to sell for in the future. So one of my favorite things to do right now is to buy. Like, obviously right now is a really good time to buy. Now, things are very, very tight for the majority of the world. Like, economy isn't great, like jobs are not great. Nothing is really good. Nothing is perfect right now. And honestly, it never is going to be. And that's why it's super important to make sure that you set a budget. Make sure you budget yourself. Maybe put things in Excel, put things in a spreadsheet, write things down in a notebook, what you're willing to spend and what you're comfortable spending on Pokemon cards. Because at the end of the day, whether you're buying or investing or selling or whatever you might be, this is a hobby. This is something fun. This is something to enjoy. And if you're not having fun and you're not enjoying it, then this probably isn't the time for you to be focusing on Pokemon cards. Pokemon's always going to be here. You can always come back to it later, but you shouldn't be putting all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to Pokemon cards. You don't want to overspend. You don't want to do anything like that. Obviously, being an adult, making the best decisions for your money is really ideal. You might have family. You might have food that you need to put on the table. Those things are way more important. Like, Pokemon will be there. You can always come back to Pokemon. That's something that's very, very important. But right now is a really good time to buy, especially singles. And one thing that I like to do, especially during the Black Friday deals like what we just had, is I like to go on to TCG Player. And I'm just going to flip you guys around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I bought quite a bit of cards on TCG Player throughout Black Friday weekend, and a lot of them have been coming in here and there. So we're going to go through those after the main portion of this video is over. But this is basically what I like to do. I like to go to TCG Player. And the reason I like to do it over Black Friday weekend is they offer what's called bonus bucks. So you can go on to TCG Player, you can buy cards, and then throughout, they do specials all the time. But this was something that they did on Black Friday weekend where they gave everybody 10% bonus bucks. Where if you spent, let's say we've got Mewtwo and Mew GX right here. If you spend $158.13, you would get 10% of that back in bonus bucks. So it's basically like buying this card for 10% off. Now, it's not something where they deduct that from your total right away. They put it basically in a bank that's located on TCG Player that you can then use for future orders. So it's basically like a $10 gift card that I might have on TCG Player. But if you are a subscriber, you pay a small fee every single month. And I do have a subscription to TCG Player, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you're somebody who does buy quite a few cards or something like that, and you find it beneficial because it does cost a few dollars every single month. Then you would have gotten 15% bonus bucks on that Black Friday deal. So this $15.81 would have been like $22, basically $23 in bonus bucks that then goes into a bank that you can then use for future orders. And what I'll do is I'll really kind of go through a lot of ultras, a lot of cards that I think are kind of at their basement level right now. And like I said, we'll go through a nice little stack that I got so that way you can see things that I kind of picked up. But I like to look at basically everything, and I like to kind of analyze where the market price is at. And then I like to look at the lowest near mint listed. So I'll filter things by Pokemon. I'll filter things by only near mint condition. So let's say I look at this Mewtwo and Mew GX Secret Rare and I see the market price is about $158 for it. Okay, well, you have one option here for $129.98 by somebody called MasterCard Collector. They do have photos attached to it, so I can see that it is a real card, and I can look at the back of it, and I'm not going to look at it now, but there was a real little light nick on the upper left-hand corner. You could probably still consider it near mint, especially by TCG player standards. And then we have another one here for $138.20 by somebody who's got a little bit more ratings if you're uncomfortable. I do like to give smaller storefronts, maybe somebody who only has one sale, an opportunity, because every once in a while they might just be building up their account and things like that, and that's why they have cards listed at a lower price, because with TCG player it's constantly a race to the bottom. So a lot of times people log into TCG player, they want to sell their card. Okay, well, we're going to go lower than the lowest listing, so that way it's more likely to show up in search results and then more likely to move. But you can see here, this one, we'll just look at this one for example, from Finishing Touch TCG. Now they've got almost 8,000 sales, so a decent amount here, and they've got a card listed for about $139. Obviously you're going to add tax onto that, so let's say it's about $145, $148 after everything is said and done. That's still selling about $10 below market, so it's already about 5% off. So if I was buying this on Black Friday or on Cyber Monday or on Small Business Saturday or whatever day it was that I was purchasing cards, you're stacking basically. This is already 5% off, and then I'm going to get an additional 15% on bonus bucks on top of that. So it's basically like buying this Mewtwo and Mew GX at 20% off. Now it doesn't work perfectly that way. Obviously the math isn't there, but basically I would just go through a lot of different cards, a lot of different listings on TCG Player, and just say, okay, well, where does this put me? What cards am I going to be interested in? We'll go through that after I get through this segment here. But I did buy one card. I did buy one card that ended up coming in the mail, and it was fake. It was noticeably fake, and that's this Ultra Necrozma GX right here. Unfortunately, I don't have the card anymore. I did send it back to the buyer. I did get a refund on it. The person who sold it to me on TCG Player was very, very nice about it. I contacted them right away. I said, hey, unfortunately, this card is fake. It's not real. And I explained to them why it wasn't real, and they said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize I had any fake cards in my butt. And I like to assume the best. Like, I'm assuming that they knew or they didn't know that it was a fake card that they had sent out, but I paid $70 for it, so it wasn't a cheap card by any means. But the left-hand side here is a picture of the card. So this is just a picture that I put up on Twitter, and I really wanted to kind of put out awareness for fake cards, because right now it is a time where a lot of parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they're out looking for Pokemon cards. They might be buying Pokemon cards, and unfortunately, there's a lot of fake listings out there, and it's really important to make sure that you don't buy those, even if you're buying for your 8-year-old son or your 8-year-old grandson. I just had a grandmother who messaged me the other day saying that they were looking to buy cards for their grandson, and they had about $50 they wanted to spend, and their grandson's favorite Pokemon is naturally Charizard, so she was looking for Charizard cards and things like that, and she went on Amazon, she went on eBay, she went on Walmart, and unfortunately a lot of those places are places where fake cards are just listed all over the place. So it's really important to know what you're getting into before going out and buying them. And honestly, like, some 8-year-olds probably aren't going to know or aren't going to care, but that doesn't mean that they should be taken advantage of. It's very important that they aren't, because if you look at it, like, it's still a cool looking card. This Ultra Necrozma GX still looks cool, but it's not real, and that obviously destroys the value of it. So there's no value with it. So years down the road, if this 8-year-old is looking to sell off his Pokemon card collection or maybe trade that Ultra Necrozma for something else, like, obviously there's not going to be any value associated. But also, if he wants to play the game, these aren't authentic cards, so you can't use these in tournament. Now, Ultra Necrozma obviously rotated out. You'd only be able to use it in like GLC formats or something like that, but you want to make sure you have authentic cards. So I did post this on Twitter, and some people were like, hey, can you just go over real quickly what fake cards look like, what to look out for, so that way in case you don't really know what you're looking for. And I assume the majority of people do know what they're looking for. However, every once in a while there are some decent fakes that come out, and this one wasn't very good, but you can tell this is just a picture from TCG Player. So this isn't an actual Ultra Necrozma GX. This is just a scan right here, but you can tell the coloring is very different. The Ultra Necrozma GX that was fake is going to have a little bit of a different font, because it's not possible to match the font perfectly. And the reasoning behind that is because the texture that gets involved when it comes to printing EX cards, GX cards. Now, they don't try and fake as many cards now when it comes to this glossy sheen that you have right here. This was very, very popular during the EX era. They called them flash cards. A lot of times, eBay, Amazon, they would have listings where you can buy, 10, 20 flash cards of ultra rares, and you would get them for, $9 or $10, basically dirt cheap to print because they're all fake. But you can see the coloring right here is off. It's all going to be faded a little bit, but then you've also got the glossy sheen right here where it's almost like a rainbow reflection right there. You don't have that on the normal Ultra Necrozma. You don't have that on normal cards because you have the texturing that's built in. Now, a lot of times it's going to be a lot easier to feel or to tell based off of feel. So when you feel an Ultra Necrozma in your hands, that's legitimate. You have the grooves and the bumps, meaning that there is texture on it. It's very clear right here that you can see that there is not any texture on this Ultra Necrozma. So the coloring is different, but also the texture is different. It's very smooth, very glossy, and that's one thing to really point out when you're looking at cards to determine whether or not they are legitimate. And then, like I said before, the font is all different. So you can tell they tried to match up the font pretty well with Photon Geyser over here, but you can tell it is different. It's got a little bit different of an outline, unlike what we see over here. The font size is a little bit different, and it's a little bit more narrow than what we're looking for over here. And you can even see the coloring scheme on the font is a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. So clearly a fake, but it's good to kind of look out. Unfortunately, TCG Player doesn't always require photos to be posted, and you can go in and you might buy one. You might buy a card on there. The great thing about buying on TCG Player is a lot of times TCG Player will cater to the purchaser, the buyer. So if for some reason I message the seller and the seller is like, hey, no, that's a real card, you have no idea what you're talking about, I could escalate it to support and be like, hey, this is obviously a fake card right here. Can you step in and make sure that I get my money back, and whatever the case may be. So TCG Player, eBay, places like that, they're going to do what they can to make sure that the buyer feels protected, especially in situations like this. But also something that's important to look out for, because unfortunately these cards already have made their way into the market. I've seen these a lot, especially at Card Party last year. I saw some kids kind of trying to trade off some here and there, but you might have kids who are trading them on the playground or something like that, and it's important to be like, hey, just so you know, this card that you traded for is fake. You may want to go back and get that back. Here's another listing from eBay. I just pulled this one off of eBay. These are all fake rainbow rares right here. So this was an advertisement for a lot that you could purchase. There was no notification about it being flashcards or anything like that. This is just, hey, you can buy 20 ultra rares. I think they advertised it as tag team ultra rare rainbow rare cards for like $20 or $15 or something like that. And it had a bunch of sales on it. Unfortunately, people just not knowing what they're looking for. They see all these ultras and like, oh, my grandkid or my kid is going to love these. This is perfect. And it's a little bit harder to tell, right? Because you can't necessarily see the texturing on any of these. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see there's no grooves or bumps or anything like that. But really the glare is kind of what gives this all away. Plus the font a little bit. Once you look at them more, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable with it. But this was, like I said, just a listing on eBay. So is this one right here. So the Mega Charizard EX, this is from Generations, or supposed to be from Generations. But you can tell very, very fake, very glossy. Just looks like it was kind of just printed on to a piece of cardstock or something like that. And like I said, this era right here, these EX eras and the early GX eras, that's really when a lot of these flash cards started coming out. So if you're looking to buy cards, might be a better idea to kind of stick towards more modern stuff than some of these older things, unless you're buying from a legitimate source, because otherwise on eBay, even with their authenticity, kind of looking around, like stuff still sneaks through the cracks, and that's a perfect example of what they are. So here is they're really popular lately. This is just Amazon. I just went in and typed in Pokemon Ultra Rares on Amazon, and this came up in the search results on the first page. So there are no metal cards in Pokemon, no authentic metal cards in Pokemon outside of like the cards that came in the Ultra Premium collection. So you have like the Charizard and the Pikachu from the Celebrations. You have the Mew from the Pokemon 150, the Scarlet and Violet 151. You have the Arceus from the Arceus V-Star Premium collection. But other than that, there's not metal cards in Pokemon. These are all just knockoffs. These are all just made. They're cool to look at, but not legitimate. And you can't even use real metal cards that Pokemon has printed, legitimate metal cards, in tournament play. You can't even use them in your local league. So if you go to your local league and you're like, hey, I'm just going to sleeve up this metal Mew because I don't have a Mew EX and I need one in my deck, so I'm going to take this metal one that I got out of the Ultra Premium collection and use it in my deck. You can't do that. It's marking your card. You're going to know when that's coming in your deck, so it's not legal for use. But I've seen a lot of people get these. I've seen these in a lot of different binders, and they kind of copy see a lot of different popular cards. Like you have special delivery Pikachu here, you have Charizard, you have a shining Charizard over here. So that way it kind of gives the buyer like, oh, he's gonna, my grandson or my granddaughter is gonna love this. Look at all these cards that come in, and he told me he wants Pikachu, he told me he wants Charizard, or she told me she wants Mewtwo, whatever the case may be. And I can get all of these, 55 of them for $15.88. Not legitimate, obviously not real. So I wish Amazon would step in, or I wish companies would step in and put in the title, like you have to put in the title, these are not legitimate, these are not authentic, these are not Pokemon cards, these are just replicas. So like if they put something in there like replica, obviously they have metal, gold plated here, that kind of give things away. But ultra rare collectible card, game decks, and set, it says gold foil card, like it doesn't really say anything. So you can see 600 plus people bought it in the last, like that's a lot. 1K bought it in the last month, 200 bought it in the last month. And you have to be very, these are not real Pokemon cards. So these are something that, yeah, you might want to buy because they're cool to look at. But unfortunately, they're only going to be worth really what people are willing to pay for them, which is probably going to be nothing because they're not real. Unfortunately, this is Walmart.com. So you can go to Walmart.com and just give you a basic understanding of different, like I just typed in Pokemon cards on Walmart.com. Walmart does not do a good job either. This Gengar and Mimikyu, clearly fake over here. Like you can just tell by looking at it. $8.99. First of all, that's way too cheap. If it's too cheap, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. It says Charizard VMAX metal card, and it's a picture of a Gengar and Mimikyu. Why this was on the first page, I have no idea, but it's obviously already getting bad ratings. It's starting to go down a little bit. Only 7 people have purchased this one, but it's clearly, you can just tell by the coloring, by the smooth glossy effect right here, and the fact that it's not a Charizard VMAX or a metal card, that this is not a realistic listing over here. Over here, 100 pieces rare cards, TCG deck box Charizard cards. This one over here, good gift for kids. Not really, because these are all fake. Like everything in here is fake, and you can tell we're selling this for $17.99. You're getting 100 ultra rares. Like that's not happening. You're not getting 100 ultra rares for $17.99. And if you do, they should not have this glossy sheen all over the place to them. And you can tell a lot of them that are in here are GX cards again, which is, like I said, that's when the era started where they kind of started making all of these, but nowhere in here does it say this is these are replicas, or these are knockoffs, or these are not authentic, or these are flash cards. It's just kind of going, if you don't know what you're looking for, then you might mistake this, and you might be like, oh, I can get my friend's son, 100 Pokemon cards. He's really into Pokemon. I can get it for $18. Like that's awesome. Look at all these ultra rares that he could get. Not real. Then your friend's son is going to take them to school, and his friends are going to tell him, hey, dude, these are fake. Like I don't like it. Just terrible that Walmart just allows this stuff. And then this middle one here, this is just another, not necessarily scam, but this is just, don't be fooled by stuff like this. So you've got a breakthrough pack, a Steam Siege pack, and a breakpoint pack right here. So not huge packs by any means, but you're looking at about $25 to $30 worth of packs right here. So 3 packs, you're paying $14.50 on. So that's more than MSRP for the packs, almost $5 a piece. So just above MSRP, and you're under the assumption, oh, I'm going to get breakthrough, Steam Siege, and breakpoint, because these are the ones that are advertising in the photo. You're not getting those 3 booster packs. This is just a stock image that they just chose. They're just going to send you 3 modern packs. It's probably going to be like Obsidian Flames, Pokemon Go, and Scarlet and Violet Bait. Like it's not going to be Breakthrough, Steam Siege, and Breakpoint that you're getting for $14.47. It's already got 2 bad reviews. I did look at the reviews, and that confirmed my suspicion that it was just not going to be realistic. So it's important to make sure that you look at what you're buying. Make sure you're paying attention to reviews and things like that. And if you have any questions, obviously I'll try and get back to them as quickly as I can. If I don't get back to you right away, just keep emailing me or keep messaging me. I get a lot of messages. It's tough to keep up with them, but I try to go through as many as I possibly can. But just be careful out there, especially as we move into the holiday season, get closer and closer to Christmas. You want to make sure you're buying from a legitimate store. Go to your local LGS. TCG Player, like I said, is safe because they really cater to the buyer, but you still have to be careful as far as condition goes and things like that. Buy from a verified seller if that makes you more comfortable, but be careful because money's tight right now, and you want to make sure that you're getting something legitimate when you spend your money on it. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling about that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm. Share the video if you wouldn't mind. I really appreciate it. This is just a small spanner. So this isn't a ton of cards by any means. This is probably a couple hundred cards here that I just went, and we're just going to go through them real quick. So a lot of times I focus on higher end modern cards. A lot of times it's going to be like gold cards, rainbow rares, things like that, that might be at their lowest point. Like I don't see really
a point where rainbow rares are going to drop below $3 a piece. Like, it's just not really going to happen. So if I see them and then, $2.50 and I can get 15% back off of that in bonus bucks, like usually I'm going to kind of snatch those up. So just a lot of gold cards right here, a lot of gold trainer cards. So we've got a Mewtwo EX. That's a really cool looking card from Breakthrough. I remember when this card originally came out, Mewtwo with Shatter Shot was really a big deal because of evolving into Mega Mewtwo with Psychic Infinity. It was a very good deck. We've got a Secret Rare Electrode and Arceus. These are the original Secret Rare trainer cards right here. So this was Sun and Moon base. This was the first time they printed Secret Rare trainer cards. Now they're much cheaper, like Fusion Strike, for example, right here. They're obviously a lot more out there. Here's more from Sun and Moon base. Those are just Psychic ones. Escape Board right here. So just some gold cards from a lot of them from the Sun and Moon era, and then even some from Sword and Shield era. So Choice Belt there, quite a few electromagnetic radars. Like I said, a lot of times if it's a gold card or a rainbow rare that's only a few dollars or might be, like already 10% under market value, getting an additional 15% on top of that just makes sense to do, in my opinion. Power Plant, obviously do what's best for your collecting budget. Bodybuilding dumbbells, Tag Switch, there's some karate belts. So these are all from different various Sword and Shield sets. So this one, Metal Core Barrier, it's a cheap secret rare right here. This one's from Unbroken Bonds. Peaking Red card from Ultra Prism. Metal Goggles is from Team Up. Single Strike Energy, here's some Electro Chargers and some more Single Strike Energy. Custom Catcher used to be a really, really big card. This is from Lost Thunder. Unfortunately, once Lost Thunder rotated, or once those sets rotated, like it fell in price. Obviously, it wasn't being used so much. Big Parasol, Enhanced Hammer from Guardians Rising. Mysterious Treasure used to be a really big card. That's from Forbidden Light. Telescopic Sight and Urn of Vitality, right there from Chilling Reign, which isn't a bad card right now in current standard play. So one that I wanted to pick up because it was just cheap. Spell Tags right there. And then we've got some rainbow rares. So here's Mega Sableye and Tyranitar. I do like tag teams quite a bit. Machamp, Malamar VMAX, Lycanroc GX, Aerodactyl V-Star. So some of these were just really cheap, plus the additional 15% on top of it just made sense. Whimsicott GX, there's Leon, Palkia GX, some of the older Sun and Moon era rainbow rares. I feel like a lot of those aren't going to necessarily drop in price, and some of them have really started climbing. So some of this stuff I just got to fill out master sets, and some of it I just got to have inventory. Leafeon GX to Dene GX, Inteleon VMAX, there's another Palkia. This one, however, is from Ultra Prism. There were two different variants of it. White Kyurem GX, I just really like this card from Dragon Majesty. I think Kyurem's just a great Pokemon. Keldeo GX, Flygon GX. Here's Duskmane Necrozma and Dong Wings Necrozma, both of those from Ultra Prism. Then we've got a few Mewtwo GXs. This card is actually trending downward right now, but anything Shining Legends in my mind is always good, especially Rainbow Rares. Dialga GX, another Lycanroc GX. There's an Incineroar GX from Team Up. There was another one of these from Sun and Moon base. Naganadel, Beauty, Fantina, Schoolgirl. There's some more Beauty, so just some more modern Rainbow Rares right there. And then we're just going to go through this last stack fairly quickly here. So Peony, Karen's Conviction, Flannery, Agatha, Shauna, Bede, more Shauna, Peony, and then we've got a few full art supporters, not as many as I would have liked to get. And like I said, a lot of them are still coming in. Steven, here's Ingo and Emmett. I just really like this card. Very cool looking card. Dana right there, Cynthia and Caitlin, tag team full art supporter, really, really good right now. Red's Challenge, Evelyn, there's another Evelyn. Acerola from Burning Shadows does really well. Cynthia full art, and then I got some alternate arts and some full art. So here's a couple Rotom Vs. Rotom was like the bane of my existence from Lost Origin. I couldn't pull it to save my life. Here's the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff alternate art. Very cool looking card from Cosmic Eclipse. Galarian Slowking V alternate art from Chilling Reign. Here's a Dragonite GX full art. This one is also this one's actually from Unified Minds. Really cool looking card right there. Aerodactyl V alternate art from Lost Origin. I did get some Charizard, so Charizard and Braixen right there. Tag team cards not doing too bad right now. And then the Reshiram and Charizard right here. I got a couple of those. This one is from Unbroken Bonds. Full art Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. There's a couple of alternate art Lumineon Vs. Alternate arts in general, a lot of them have really fallen in price right now, so it just made sense to pick up some of them, especially when you could get that additional 15% back. Galarian Articuno V. Here is a few Single Strike Urshifu VMAXs. Alternate art VMAXs a little bit tougher to pull than obviously your regular alternate arts. Then we've got Naganadel and Guzzlord, alternate art Rowlet and Alolan Executor. Here's a full art Lugia GX from Lost Thunder, beautiful looking card. Mew VMAX alternate art from Fusion Strike, Inteleon VMAX alternate art from Fusion Strike. Then we've got the alternate art Charizard V from Brilliant Stars, Mewtwo EX full art from Breakthrough, and then I did get one of each of the gold cards from, these were at least real, from Ultra Prism, so the Solgaleo and the Lunology X. I actually haven't owned these for a very, very long time, and I needed them for my master set anyway, so they were already under market by a little bit, and then the additional 15% back on top of it just made sense. So that's basically what I bought. A lot of singles over the past couple weeks. I did buy some sealed product as well. Unfortunately, not all of that has come in yet, but a lot of singles haven't come in yet as well. But just during the down market, it's just very important to kind of look around, add pieces to your collection that you might think you need, but don't overspend. Just make sure you budget properly, and then be careful where you buy from. I hope you guys like the content. Like I said, I'm going to repeat myself again. That's so annoying. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. You know what to do. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything. Love you guys. I'll talk to you again in a couple days. Until next time, peace.